Well, howdy, all you collector car fans out there. This is Jason from Southern Bush Motorsports. I am the owner and a founder. Now, this is a nice little treat we got for all you Ford people out there. I'm calling this Mustangs in the Bush. Yes, those are trees growing up in the middle of the engine compartment. So this was an old friend of mine, way down in the south, way out in the boondocks. And this was the fella I had done a little story on before named Buddy. And he owned a restoration shop. He specialized in these Mustangs and Mustangs convertibles, and he handmade these frame boxes, I guess, that rotted out on these Mustangs. And one part of the street was his shop, and the other part was all bush and swamp, and that's where he kept all these Mustangs. And I'm talking hundreds. This will probably be a 2 or 3 part series because it's just, I think it was over 200 acres across the street of just bush and swamp that he had stuck these cars in. A lot of these cars were cars that customers had brought in and wanted to get restored and just never came and picked up. A lot of them were cars that he had bought in town and from the surrounding towns over the years. You know, he'd been a restoration business for 45 years. And, you know, not to burn it in the beginning, but there's no Shelby Mustangs out here. These were all just stock Mustangs, but they were literally everywhere. He also had buildings on the property like this here where he had Mustangs shoved away. But this guy, he was a unique cat. Here's the back end of that fastback. From the front of the doors back, car was never touched. The thing about Buddy is he didn't buy sheet metal. He made his own sheet metal. When he needed the seat, he made the seat. Just the machinery that he had was crazy. This was one of the carports that had a Mustang convertible in it. I'm not super familiar with all the different crazinesses of the Mustang and stuff like that, but maybe in the comments everybody can make some comments. There was a Mustang convertible that he was in the process of restoring. I said this guy was old school. I think I took that because it was a frame rail that he had added on to the car. It was really hard getting through these buildings and these fields and in the bush and stuff like that because he had stuff all over the place, and it was just incredibly hard to get to some of this stuff. And you'll see how difficult it was to take some of these pictures. And unfortunately, the majority of these cars were left outside, and yeah, they got a little rough because you're not talking about a couple years. You're talking about 20, 25 years of these cars sitting out in the hot sun and the weather, and it was crazy that any of these cars even survived. But they were rough. You can see the briar. Those are called briar brush, where they'll just wrap themselves around the car. But the problem with that is if you wanted one of these cars, that briar brush had to be cut. As you can see, it's got these little barbs on it like a rose does, and they're quite painful. Even when if they just touch your skin, it feels like you got bit by something. I mean, look at these Mustangs, man. They were absolutely everywhere. And a lot of the cars that he had out in the field were cars that, you know, if he wanted a door, he just went out into the field and grabbed a door. I took a few pictures of this fastback because I really wanted that car, but it was over my head, and at the time I had no ability to have the car restored. There's a Mustang. I think he said that was a California Special Mustang, something like that. But that car right there, that looks like that after I had pulled it out of the bush. It's another Mustang convertible. They were just everywhere. He just loved those Mustang convertibles. Yeah, this is definitely going to have to be a 2 or 3 part series because even that Mach 1, the red Mach 1 to the right, I sold that one. I think that was a 71, 72, something like that. But these are cars that I had staged, and you can see the briar brush wrapped around the steering wheel. And one strand of that is enough to hold a 50-pound weight. So you're talking, this stuff had to be cut. And I had a lot of tools to get underneath the car and cut as much as I could. And I had a special vehicle that I used to pull cars out. And it was rough. It was a little rough dealing with these cars, but they were pretty much, most of these cars are what I would actually call, I know the term gets overused way too much. And the Mustang hiding in the bush there. A survivor car to me is a car that has not been touched, not been taken apart. Doesn't matter if it's running. If it hasn't been taken apart and it hasn't been touched, it's a survivor car. It doesn't mean it survived a storm and it can run down the street as soon as you pull it out of the bush, because none of this stuff was running and driving anyway. Survivor car means a lot of the stuff that he had in this field I would consider a survivor car, where it's all the original parts are on it and the car hadn't been touched because it hadn't started restoration. That Mustang was a good example. That was a survivor car. Original Mustang hubcaps on it. Car had never been touched. I think it was like a 6-cylinder car. It was nothing big. Look at that power top motor on that car. But you know, the interior and stuff had been taken out of it, but the car had survived the storm and made it through to the end. Back end. A lot of the time when I take pictures like this, I just can't get a good picture of the car because there's so much bushes and trees around it. If I remember right, there was 118 Mustangs in this bush, and most of them were convertibles. Probably 70% of them were convertible. So it's definitely a good score. He wasn't looking to sell them all at once or anything like that. So look at how original these cars are. It was so cool to see this stuff. This was one of the first big finds that I had ever found, and it was a real learning experience, because I had to figure out, because this guy Buddy was an old man, and he's like, you want that car, you go pull that car out, but you're paying me before you start pulling it out. If you screw the car up pulling it out, don't come pissing and moaning to me. You bought the car, that's it. So look at those streets. Kelly Springfield supercharger tires. I remember those. We used to smoke those tires so bad. Well, you know, look at that, all over the place. A lot of the times, the motors that were out of these cars, thank goodness he was smart enough to take the motor out, another convertible back in there. That green, that beautiful green Mustang color that I loved, like kind of like the Shelby colors. But he was smart enough to take the engine out of these cars as they came in, and he had most of the engines, probably 65-70% of the engines, inside of a warehouse on racks, all labeled for the car. You might catch a number here and there on a car that would match the motor inside. And I know I keep showing the same pictures, but as somebody that was actually out there pulling these cars out of the woods, it was so cool to experience what it was like to pull these cars out. Like, even the chrome on the car is actually not that bad. And I know these cars had a big problem with the frame boxes underneath them rotting out, and that was definitely an issue with these cars. There's another convertible right there. There's another convertible right there. I think there was later model Mustang. Are the cars savable? Yeah. Is it worth it? Good God, I don't know, man. I mean, you gotta have some pretty deep pockets to mess with one of these cars, but there's a whole field full of possibilities there. That was one of the Mustang convertibles that was stuck inside the building. That was a red one. I think I showed pictures of it before. There's another convertible backed up against into the wood. And you can see all this briar brush grown up. Oh, God, it was such a pain in the butt. I think I pulled about 12 cars from him out of those deep woods. This is what a car looks like after I pulled it out. It's just briar brush everywhere. And it's so painful. Luckily, an old fella came by and saw what I was doing, and he knew that I was getting stung by these briar brushes, and he told me to wipe Vaseline all over my body, all over the exposed parts of my body, that it would help out with the pain, and thank God it did. At least slow down the sting of it. That's a close-up of that Mustang fastback that I wanted. But I mean, look at how clean and straight that car is. Solid, untouched. I actually sat in that car, and it was really cool to sit inside of it. But see, you know, a lot of the rust that you see on these cars, it's not through rust. It doesn't go all the way through. It's a lot of surface rust. There she is. Look at that. Yep, that's trees growing up in the middle of that car. I wanted to pull that car out really bad. It was so over my head at the time. You know, I didn't think I'd be able to get it out. It's such a cool car, man. The convertible. Those Mustang convertibles are stored as such beautiful beasts. Look at all the parts in the trunk. A lot of these cars that he also had out there were other restoration shops that tried to do a restoration on it and failed, and he ended up picking them up. He had quite a few of the cars like that. You could tell that had been to some sort of a restoration shop. But back into that Mach 1. A different shot of that fastback there. You know, I'm trying real hard to make this my full-time thing instead of outdo what I'm doing, which is not something I want to be doing. So I'm working really hard on making this full-time. So anything you can help out with would be greatly appreciated. I got a Patreon page that I'm going to start, and I think there's a super thanks button in there, and anything to help with keeping this program going, because I got so much stuff. It's just never ending. You know, I really appreciate you coming on and checking out another Tales from the Bush. It's Mustangs in the Bush. And I'm going to do a part 2, possibly a part 3, but try to squeeze it all in a part 2. But thanks for coming by, and don't forget to check out, like, and subscribe.